President Trump has held multiple news conferences, gaggled on Air Force One multiple times, and sat down for a two-part interview on Fox News, which aired last week. As Politico summed it up best, Trump is everywhere again. And that's because President Trump has a great story to tell about the legendary American revival that is well underway. And in keeping with this revolutionary media approach that President Trump deployed during the campaign, the Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who are seated in this room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low. Millions of Americans, especially young people, have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers to consume their news from podcasts, blogs, social media, and other independent outlets. It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. To do this, I am excited to announce the following changes will be made to this historic James S. Brady briefing room, where Mr. Brady's legacy will endure. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. And you can apply now on our new website, whitehouse.gov/new media. Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex. So in light of these announcements, our first questions for today's briefing will go to these new media members whose outlets, despite being some of the most viewed news websites in the country, have not been given seats in this room.
So what Trump is doing is really in line with what's really going on with social media and content creation. Now, this is one of the reasons why he actually won the election. He listens to his younger son. His younger son is tuned in. He's tapped in with a lot of content creators and podcasts. When Trump was campaigning, he went on just about anybody's YouTube channel, anybody's podcast, while Kamala Harris stuck to the CNN and the Fox News. Let me be the first one to tell you, the only people that are watching a CNN or Fox News or what they consider legacy media is baby boomers, but not the younger generation, right? Everybody is consuming YouTube. If you have children like myself, I got a 3-year-old and I got a 12-year-old. They don't watch TV. They watch YouTube. You know, those are their Saturday morning cartoons, and you know the programming that they watch is all through YouTube. And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that content creation is only going to continue to grow, because now everything is independent. And what's going to happen is these larger companies like Disney or Comcast, you know, Viacom, they're going to start in the near future buying people's YouTube channels because the viewer is changing. Baby boomers are dying off. No offense to any baby boomers out there that are watching. And the new consumer is consuming mostly through YouTube and not so much as through these streaming apps. You know, YouTube is one of the largest and like the #1 platform of media consumption right now. And this is a smart move because they also see that. That's one thing that I can say about Trump. He has an open mind when it comes to ideas and being revolutionary. Now, how does this help you? For anybody out there that wants to get into content creation, this is one of the best avenues to take to make money. You know, when I first started on YouTube, I had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea of the power of this thing. You know, there's 18 different ways to make money through YouTube. And when I first started, I only knew one way, AdSense, right? And when I first started YouTube during the pandemic, my channel was making, you know, $300 to $500 per day. I would put out one video, and that one video may generate between $300 and $500 in AdSense revenue Or I'll put out a series of videos where collectively in one day, those videos would generate between $300 and $500 per day. Now, for the average person, that's pretty good, right? Like in a year's time, you're putting out 30 to 40 videos a month. You're making anywhere, that's anywhere between, 70, $80,000 and 100 grand or so, in a year's time. And the more I did it, the better I got at it. The more I learned that there is a bunch of different ways to make money on YouTube. And this goes to show the power of it, right? YouTube has really swayed an election. A lot of people say Elon Musk paid to sway it, but a lot of the votes came from Donald Trump going on these podcasts and on these YouTube channels and kicking it with these streamers. So for anybody out there, don't be afraid of YouTube. My biggest year on YouTube was last year. I made the most money I've ever made. And it's crazy. You would think it'd be during the pandemic when everybody was at home. I had no idea what I was doing. But now that I know what I'm doing, my biggest year on YouTube was last year. I had in my last video about content creation, I talked about negativity, right? And how you need it to have a successful YouTube channel for the most part, for, depending on what lane you're in. And, I had somebody make a hit piece video on me, right? A hit piece is when somebody makes a video on you, they're talking shit about you, they're showing your channel, talking about the negatives of the video. Well, I was mad about it, right? I was really mad about it. But after the video came out, in that 3-week time frame, I made $170,000 from that negative hit piece video. I think they had me in the video. They had a Hood Rich Credit. They might have had the Credit Plug. They had a few people, that was in the credit space at the time in this particular hit piece. It wasn't just directed at me, but it was directed at a certain side of YouTube for the most part. And this is when I started to really understand what Donald Trump is doing, what Elon Musk is doing, what some of these other content creators are doing. And, it is something that you need. It came to the point where I wanted to pay the guy like, hey, bro, I'll give you 20 grand, however you want me to send it, wire, cash. I have somebody drop off a duffel bag full of money at your front door to do it again. $170,000 in 3 weeks. The average person is not going to see that, right? Especially from a job or, even in most businesses, depending on your business model. That helped me understand, right? And if you're a content creator and you're doing like how she mentioned in this video about, news and what's going on in the world, the good thing is Donald Trump is going to throw shit at the wall every day, right? You don't even have to think. You will always have some sort of content. So the next 4 years, anybody that's doing reaction videos to, something, these news reports or that what Donald Trump is doing and the effects on the economy, you're going to run it up because everything he does, it trends. And he does this stuff for a reason, right? News outlets mostly report negative news because people are consumed by negativity for the most part. And, it's one of the highest paying things. That's why when you turn the news on, the most positive thing you're going to get on the news is the weather. But outside of that, you're going to see murders, you're going to see crime, you're going to see, just a bunch of stuff that's, negative. But people are drawn, they're drawn to that. And it's a very weird dynamic. And, even within the White House with Donald Trump, the name Trump being plastered everywhere is making his business larger, whether you believe it or not. And being the most hated person, and I'm not telling you to get on YouTube really and be negative, but the most hated people are the biggest icons, the biggest martyrs in history are the most hated people. Floyd Mayweather is the most hated boxer. People don't watch Floyd because they love him. They watch him because they want to see him lose. And he's like the most successful boxer ever. Jesus Christ, one of the biggest religious symbols. People hated him. He got stoned, and they killed him because of what he stood for, right? The most hated person. But here we are, thousands or hundreds of years later, and he's still the biggest, religious, I guess, influencer, right? If you look at Donald Trump, when you look all on social media, it seems as though people hate him, right? But he won the election by a landslide, right? I can go on and on about hated people throughout history. And the reason why I'm talking about hate is because, that's one fear that people have is haters in their comment section. But like I explained in my last video about content creation, is there are two energies. There's positive and negative energy. And it doesn't matter what that energy is on YouTube. That energy translates into dollars. in your bank account, right? So I used to, watch other creators get hit with hit pieces. And I used to be like, damn, that's messed up. Somebody did that to me. We're going to have a real problem. Until I understood the game, right? I would love another creator to do a hit piece, especially a large creator with like 1 million subscribers. I may make $1 million off of them, from them doing a hit piece. So here's the thing, right? There's 18 different ways to make money. I make money several ways through this YouTube channel. I have a real estate license. I meet buyers and sellers through this YouTube channel, right? I have products. I have sponsorships from different companies, right? And with the changes that the White House is making, these platforms, right, like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube are changing the way their policies to match what the White House is doing. Trump is like, hey, let everybody just say and do what they want on the internet, right? And that's why you see some of these platforms monetizing people that were once demonetized because of things that they said, whether it was sexist or racist or whatever. Me personally, I never ever get mad at somebody that says something negative on YouTube, because I know why they're doing it, right? Somebody gets on here and say something misogynistic, something racist, right? Somebody's going to see it. They're going to share it with their friends, their family. They're going to watch it. They're going to share it. And then that video grows and they end up making millions of dollars. Now, here's the other thing, right? When it comes to content creation, don't pay attention to the views, because not all views are the same. You may see somebody with a 5-minute video that got, 150, 200,000 views. And you're thinking that, oh, wow, they're making a lot of money. That's not necessarily true. You can put out a video that gets 10,000 views, but that video may be 20 or 30 minutes long, and you'll make more money than they will. Because, let me explain to you. YouTube will pay you based off of the amount of ads that they can place on a video. In a 5-minute video, they can only place an ad in the beginning and maybe an ad at the end. But if you get into, 20, 30 minute, hour-long video, they can place 10, 15, 20 ads in that space. And because they're doing that, they are sharing the revenue with you 50-50. Now, here's the other thing. We all know that the Trump administration is downsizing the government. So a lot of agencies are disappearing, right? So like USAID, they're completely dismantling that and getting rid of it, right? They're talking about dismantling the IRS and getting rid of it, right? And in people's minds, they think that, oh, that's going to affect business, or, businesses are going to make less money that may, in states and in cities where these government agencies are located, or, some of these government contracts are getting cut, and some of these businesses, because they're losing that government money, they're going to, fire their employees. YouTube doesn't work that way. Okay. The consumer, the person watching the video, they don't have to spend money with you for you to make money. Attention is the currency. Because you have that attention, advertisers are willing to pay to get in front of those consumers. That's one thing that you have to realize. YouTube in the near future will be a larger platform than all of television cable combined, which currently it is, but it will hold the title officially. We will start seeing more sports. Why do you think the NFL and the NBA are coming to YouTube? We will start seeing more movies. Right now, Netflix is the title holder for movies, right? But at some point, YouTube will either acquire that, or these larger platforms like a Netflix or like a Comcast or somebody will acquire YouTube. And you will start seeing more people watching movies through YouTube. And here's the thing. I'll be honest. YouTube is a monopoly. Okay, it just hasn't gotten to the point of being an official monopoly, but it is. If you look at the amount of people that consume and use YouTube on a daily basis, it's come to the point now where anytime, a new television is produced, Samsung, LG, Sony, they automatically install YouTube on it, right? And then when you turn your TV on, you see YouTube recommendations on the TV now. That is because the majority of people are consuming it. So, in my opinion, if you have no other way of making money, start a YouTube channel. Talk to people about where you've been. You know what's making a crazy bag right now on YouTube? Prison stories. There are people coming home from prison talking about what they experienced in prison. And it's getting millions of views. Millions, because people are polarized by what goes on in prisons. So, you can talk about anything, and it doesn't matter your age. There are people that are, old enough to be my grandparents, right, that are making a killing on YouTube. So, don't get caught up in the views. Don't get caught up in people telling you, oh, that's a dumb thing to do or it's not possible. Trust me, when I first started YouTube, I got all of that stuff. And then now people are like, dang, like, how you do that? To me, in my opinion, it's one of the best ways to make money. I really only spend, let's just say, an hour or less a day in, making YouTube content, whether it's on this channel or any other real estate channels that I have, or cryptocurrency channels. I have a bunch of channels. I have about 4 or 5 monetized channels. I have a bunch of YouTube channels, but I really only spend an hour actually physically recording content. And a lot of these videos I don't even edit anymore. This video, I'm not going to edit this video for the most part. It may be like some small edits, but other than that, the landscape of making money, especially online, has changed. It was designed for this. Being online was designed for this. It wasn't really designed to be consumed the way that we consume it now. That's why you see a lot of these younger kids having problems, and they're not, and people aren't as social as they used to be because of content, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with consuming content, especially if you're learning something. But if there are people out here that are going to leave their home today and go DoorDash for $200. I can put out a video and make that. I can spend 30 minutes making a video and put that out, and that video will generate $200 or $300 through AdSense revenue. Just as an example, I have videos that make more. I've had videos that made less, but let me just give you some more advice, right? When it comes to YouTube, it is a lot harder. Once you start, don't stop. It is a lot harder digging out of the hole once you started and it started generating and then you stop, than it is actually getting started, right? Because getting started, you don't really have any expectations, high expectations, right? But once you start and then you really start moving and then you stop and then you try to get back to where you were, it is 10 times more difficult. So if you're somebody that wants to get into content creation and you start, don't stop. Put the pedal to the metal and keep going. And because the algorithm's changing, the algorithm is pushing newer channels every day because it is a hungry beast, right? Consumption is a very hungry beast that has to be fed. And in order for YouTube to continue where and to be where they are and to continue ranking and staying where they are, they have to feed that hungry beast of consumption. And you can be the food, which then in turn puts money in your pocket. Don't get it twisted. Now, you don't have to check out YouTube to cash or none of that. Just get started, and learn on the way if you don't have the budget to do so. There's nothing wrong with that. But the number one thing is being consistent. Shout out to all my up and coming content creators. There is a lot of money out here to be made because attention can be turned into whatever currency it is that you would like. So whatever it is you decide to do, just make sure you double down, hit the gas, and don't give up.